Hello, hello, everybody. I am really excited about today's live stream because it has been a long time coming and you guys seemed very open to having this discussion. And it really makes me happy to know that people are so focused on marriage and relationships and willing to put in the work so that they can improve in the future. Those of you who are watching, drop your city and state so I can shout you out and say hello. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Yonci, and this is my channel, Chasing Yonci. I am focused on all things love, dating, sex, and relationships. And today I'm going to be sharing about my journey, why my relationship failed, in the hopes that you guys can learn from my mistakes, avoid what I did. And for those of you who are going through or coming out of a divorce, I want to give you encouragement that there is life after the divorce. Although it feels like a part of you is dying, which kind of is, but life can still be amazing after that. We got South Carolina in the house. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to get right into it. And I will say this is pretty exciting for me. I've only been on YouTube for about a year. And I think last week I got my first super like, as they call it. So I don't have the screen in front of me that you guys have, but if you see that option, if you guys decide to push it, I will give you a special shout out, but that gives me a small donation and it goes very far. So thank you so much. We got a like from Montreal, Canada. Nice. That's Natasha, one of our regular viewers. What a brave topic to tackle. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cherie says she's new to my channel, checking in from, what is it? Marlton. I hope I'm saying that correct. New Jersey. That's awesome. I love having new people here. So we are going to get right into it. We got Fort Worth, Texas. Oh, that's Patricia. Nice. I know her in real life. Hello, hello, friend. Excited to have you guys. I will say this. I remember when I was married, I had some things that I was tackling and I was so frustrated. Frustrated is an understatement. I was really going through and I did not feel like I had what I needed to be able to keep my sanity. And I remember searching the internet and hoping to find something that would really speak to my situation. And I couldn't find anything. And so that's a huge part of my motivation in the content that I make on the various platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, barely Twitter, but of course here on YouTube. But I want to give content that old Yonci would have really wanted to have. So let me know if it makes an impact because I'm telling y'all that really motivates me to keep going. Tony says he loves the look. Thank you. Got a little makeover for my set. Appreciate that, Mr. Watts. You actually inspired a lot of the looks because you always have really cool backgrounds and stuff. Let's see who else. We got, oh, Kenner's, sorry guys, because my comments are over here, so I have to keep looking this way. Kennersville, North Carolina. The font is like a 5 from where I'm sitting, really far back. All right, so I think I've shouted everybody else out, and that's because you guys were on time. Oh, we got a Houston, Texas. Everyone else, I will shout you out in just a bit, but please continue to drop your city and state, and also drop your questions now. What I'm going to do so that I'm not like all over the place jumping around, I'm going to go ahead and make my basically presentation. I'm going to tell my story, and then I'm going to come back and in order of when they were asked, I'm going to answer questions because I have a feeling there might be duplicates or things like that or stuff that I'm going to answer in what I'm going to be discussing. So just drop your questions now and don't worry, I do see them. I'm going to get to them in order. All right, cool. The other thing I ask is that if you are enjoying this broadcast, please smash the like button because that is currency for social media content creators because that's the only way that we can let the platform know that this content is being liked. And if they see enough people engaging with it, liking it, commenting, sharing, whatever, then they will push it out to more people, okay? I can't pay to get more views. That's the only way. So it's like our currency. If you just hit that little button, it takes 2 seconds, but it makes a world of difference for me. Thank you. I see them going up. All right. We have a South Africa. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see. He said I'm driving, so go at least an hour. I love that. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so far I've already seen a question that is on my answer. Y'all, I have my little points. I thought this through. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So we're going to get started and I apologize. I'm going to be looking down from time to time because I don't want to forget anything, okay? And I want to keep my screen up so I can see what you guys are doing there. Hey, Dallas, Texas. All right, guys, so let's get into it. The very first issue, okay, when When I look back, my relationship, my marriage, of course, crumbled, but there were problems before I got married. And I'm going to be sharing my experiences, but I also want to share what I think makes this relatable because I want everyone to have a takeaway. But the issue looking back, the biggest one, I was getting married for all the wrong reasons, okay? I was getting married because I had this fantasy in my mind that if a man picks me, I can start to have this life that, every girl dreams of, okay? So it was this big fantasy situation. So I really didn't even know what it was all encompassing. Hey, Benjamin, thank you for tuning in. So that was the goal. And I remember having an interview with somebody a couple months back, and I was saying it was almost as though I had this whole fantasy and I just needed to insert the guy in, right? It's like the wedding cake, and then you got the bride's already up there, the cake's already up, you got the whole wedding reception. You just need to put that groom on the top. And it's not like any old guy will do, but it's more so I really, really want this thing, and so cool, you'll fit. As opposed to, I met this person that I absolutely cannot live without, and I know that I have done everything to flush out whether or not this is a good match for me. That is a completely different thing. And that's not to say that I didn't care for my partner and that I didn't feel the butterflies for my partner and I wasn't excited about it. But when I'm honest with myself, I was very giddy about getting married. Okay, it wasn't that I was so giddy about marrying so and so. And I remember watching, I'm binge watching Bachelor in Paradise, and I'm watching season 6 right now because the current season is so good and I wanted more. So I'm going back and I'm watching the other season as I'm doing my daily walks, and I'm watching this one guy, and it's so funny because most guys, you don't hear guys say this, so it was weird hearing from a guy, but he's like, I want to be married so bad. I want to be a father so bad. I can't wait for the time that I get to propose and ask her parents, ask her father's hand in marriage, and I can't wait to make that phone call telling my parents that I'm getting married. So he's so excited. He has this whole dream, and you guys, don't get me wrong, it's not bad to be excited about it, but you have to be careful that you're not more excited about the situation than you are your partner, because trust me, the situation is not great if you don't have the right partner. So that's all well and good, but I want you to make sure that's not initially your initial motive. So if you guys are taking notes, that will be the first takeaway for the single people. Check to see if you talk more about the situation, the idea of getting married, the idea of being in a relationship, the idea of being in love, or if you talk more about the person and their specific attributes, okay? So that's really, really big. Hey guys, for those of you who are just joining in, please smash that like button and let me know if this is content you like to see. Nice. We already have a I can relate. I don't want to jack up your name. Nosind. I don't want to butcher it. Okay, but thank you so much. And you guys, comment like that. Let me know, because it's weird talking to a camera. I can't see your facial expressions or anything like that. So if something relates to you or resonates with you, please drop it in the comments, all right? It helps me to keep going. Keeps me fired up. Thank you for the likes, you guys. I see them. Okay, perfect. So my issue was that my drive to get married, exceeded my love for him. And the other thing was I didn't feel whole. I felt like I was missing something in my life. So there's a difference between, let's say, for example, right now, I don't live in a house anymore. I moved into an apartment. And so I desire one day to live in a house. But I don't feel like I'm not whole right now. I still have the desire, and it's still something that I want, and it's something big, but I don't feel whole. I don't walk around feeling empty inside, like my life is not going to be complete until I get my house. I'm very content with where I am, and I understand that when the time is right and the opportunity presents itself and I have the means, I will move into a house. The same thing with, oh, thank you so much. The same thing with a relationship. If you do not feel whole, if you have like pain in your soul, if you are just beyond devastated and it's so hard to get over relationships, or if you go into dates and the first date you're obsessed with whether or not that person is going to like you, and your first thought am I going to like this person, then I strongly suggest that you start a journey of self-love, because I'm telling you, this was the foundation. So even if I did everything else right, This foundation would have crumpled me either way. So this one is a big, big, big one. And if you're taking notes, I want you to circle it, highlight it, underline it, bold it, because self-love is the key. And I have dedicated myself to try to teach people, women especially, how to build self-love, because so many people talk about it, but they didn't explain how. And a lot of times there are these catchphrases and people say things that sound cute, but it's like, hello, how? And a lot of times people think, oh, I have self-love because I look out for myself. I put myself first. I might even be selfish. So it's not that. Self-love is, how do you make decisions? How do you move? And if you're moving in a way and making decisions in a way that affects your life negatively, that is a demonstration that you don't have self-love. So the example that I gave you, if you go on a date and you're consumed with, oh my God, I'm scared if they don't like me, as opposed to, let me see if I like them first. And even if they don't like me back and I like them, we're going to move on because my life is great anyway. That is self-love. All right, guys. So if you want to get more into self-love, I can do other videos, but on this particular one, I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole on that, but that's that. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I already had the wrong motivation going in. So check your motive would be number one. The second thing was, the reason why I was destined for failure is because I was not equipped to be a partner. I was not prepared to be a partner because I was fantasizing about a relationship. I was fantasizing about what the relationship would do for me. Okay? So that's like going, I'm so excited about having a job because you're excited about the beautiful office you're going to have and the respect you're going to get from people and the big fat paycheck you get, and you don't even consider how much time it takes, the education that you're going to need, how annoying your coworkers might be. You know, like, you don't consider the other side. Yes, a part of it is all that stuff that I named first, but you have to be realistic and think about what you have to put into it. And I didn't even bother to think about it. Y'all want to know how wild it was? When I described who I would be, and this was innocent, I wasn't intentionally being deceitful, but when I described to him who I wanted to be as a wife, I literally described my mom, all right? So I said, I'm going to cook, I'm going to clean, I'm going to be this domestic engineer, you know, I'm going to be this domestic goddess, and, you know, that's pretty much what sold him. And he was excited, and I was excited to give him. It seemed so amazing. I'm going to have a guy pay all my bills. He's going to give me babies, and I'm just going to be happily in the kitchen, just cooking. And while he's at work, I'm going to be cleaning, and it's just going to be great. That's literally what my fantasy was. But I never cleaned a day in my life. I never picked up my room. My room was a mess. Like, at this time, I lived on my own, but for the majority of my life, I lived at home, right? I wasn't tidy. I wasn't organized. I was lazy. Oh, and by the way, I didn't know how to cook. So I'm like in la la land. I'm like delusional. I don't know what I thought, that as soon as you get married, boom, you're just going to suddenly turn into a whole different person. I'm going to turn into Susie Homemaker. No, these attributes of a wife should have been attributes before I became a man's wife in particular, right? I wasn't a wife already, but for some reason I'm thinking I'm going to be like, turn into a wife once I walk down the aisle. You don't turn into a wife once you walk down the aisle. You are a wife before a man notices you that you are a wife. Like, oh, that's a wife. Okay, I want her to be my wife. So it's the same thing with guys who think that they're going to be whole whores. And then suddenly I walk down the aisle and I'm not going to be a whore anymore. No, if you couldn't control yourself and you couldn't keep it in your pants and you couldn't stop masturbating and all these things that are sexual relations, you know, related sexually, you're not going to suddenly, because you just love your woman, going to now be this chaste, pure person. You're still going to be tempted. You're still going to push the envelope. You're still going to have inappropriate conversations with women. You're not going to magically change because you've walked down the aisle. It's not about a matter of willpower. You have to do the work to actually become that person. Thank you guys for the comments. Yeah, y'all are funny. Okay. So I don't know. I was living in a fantasy world. Okay. I didn't want the responsibilities and I didn't want the obligations of the wife role, but I certainly wanted all the duties. I wanted to receive all the benefits, rather, of a husband. Okay. Now, the reason why this was an issue for me, I finally realized, is that I was lazy, like plain and simple. It wasn't anything complicated. I was just lazy. If I was in bed and or I was relaxing or watching TV and I would notice that it was time, I should probably get up and start to, prepare something for dinner, or I should probably start cleaning up around the house. In that moment, I'm like, that's not fun. So I'm going to keep doing this. And I would keep procrastinating. And then I would look up and, oh crap, I hear the garage door going up. He's coming home and I haven't done anything. I was just lazy, but it was so bad. I didn't really feel like I could control it. I hadn't taught myself self-discipline. So she said, okay, I'm gonna try to say the name. No Cindiso. I hope I'm saying it correctly. She said, I literally feel like you are telling my story. Lazy AF, only wanted a guy with no kids, so he had no kids and had to follow my plan. Y'all, it sounds so stupid when I say it out loud, but this is the reality of a lot of people, okay? We don't think it through. So I was lazy. That was probably the biggest thing, just lazy. Like, I was embarrassed myself, but I just didn't know how to control myself. And then the other thing is that I was so self-centered. It wasn't that I didn't care about him. It was as though this was my only scope, and like, he's outside of that scope. I can only see how things, are relevant to me. So even in laziness is self-centeredness, because you're going, right now, I want to enjoy watching TV more than I am thinking about my partner, who is coming home and probably excited to have a home cooked meal. So this is going to all come together, okay, at the end. But this is why it was doomed from the beginning, okay? It didn't even have anything to do with him at this point. Like, yeah, okay. All right. Now, that was insult. And I'm injury, and I'm going to add insult, as they say. You added insult to injury, all right? It was already injury, and now I'm just going to throw an insult on there. He said this needs to be recorded. Oh, it'll be posted after the live stream is over. Okay, y'all. So on top of being lazy, on top of being self-centered, on top of being delusional and not even equipped to do the things that I said I was going to do, I was defensive and had the nerve of an attitude. Yeah, y'all, you ever had someone who like messed up and then you call them on it and then they want to be mad at you because you called them on it? Like, where did they do that at? Like, that was me. The reason why was because I knew that I wasn't able to change. I was so controlled by my compulsions and I was so controlled by my emotions that the only thing I could do was just defend myself or try to defend myself. And it made me so frustrated that I would just get mad at him. My actions said, I want to F up repeatedly, but I just need you to just keep loving me more. Just keep loving me more. Just keep loving me more. And stop reminding me of my shortcomings and stop putting it in my face. I don't like feeling guilty. And I remember him saying to me, we sat back and we talked, and what we used to do is we used to go to Starbucks and just sit and talk for hours. That's how we fell in love, because we were connected as far as what we wanted. I just didn't realize that I didn't have the skills. But we both wanted and still want the same thing. Excuse me, guys. Allergies acting up. Okay. So we sat there and talked. He said, what if, what I told you, hey, I work here, I make this amount of money, and this is what I plan on doing moving forward. What if we got married? And then I was like, just kidding. I actually don't have that job. I actually live out of my car, and I actually have no plan in place of what I can do in the future. He's like, you would be livid. You'd probably want a divorce. You'd be like, what the hell? And it took me having to keep hearing the shoe on the other foot for me to understand, because the selfishness in me was just like, but I'm cute though. Can't you just love me? Well, what if we're just intimate? Will that make it all go away? Not realizing that a partner wants to feel like their partner is pulling their weight, and it doesn't have to be the same weight. Okay, it just needs to be even weight. So to you, it might be cooking and cleaning, and to you, it might be working outside the home. Whatever it is, it needs to be agreed upon as it being equitable. It's the same thing as having a roommate. If you have a roommate that loves cleaning, maybe that person cleans and maybe the other person cooks. Or maybe one person loves to cook and the other person's like, I'll do the dishes. It doesn't have to be equal. It just has to be even. Both people need to feel like they're being given equal effort, okay? And then all the other stuff, that's extra on top of it. But don't think that those extras are going to accommodate the person if at the root of it, they feel like one person is giving more than the other. That's why these conversations are so important before you get married, okay? So we had the conversation. We agreed on what's even. I just couldn't hold up my end of the deal. The other thing, this goes back to self-love. I was insecure AF because I didn't know my value. And two, I knew that I wasn't the person I wanted to be. So there was a little bit of self-loathing. So I already feel guilty about being lazy. I feel guilty about, being whatever. And now I have a person in my face confronting me about it. And the reason why I say so many relationships are like mirrors is because when you're single, you can live in la la land. You can say whatever you want about yourself, and these poor people who don't know you are just going to believe you because that's what you're telling them and it sounds good. When you have a partner, they like, no, sir, man, that's not you. Tidy, you're not tidy. Quiet, you're not quiet. Hard worker, you're not a hard worker. They will let you know. Now, there's an asterisk, a little caveat. Sometimes you can have a narcissist. Sometimes you can have somebody who is a psychopath who will lie and only say things for the sheer purpose of tearing you down. But that's not the majority, in my opinion. The majority, in my opinion, of people who complain and have negative things to say are people who are just accurate. Like, you're rude, you're selfish, you smell, you're messy. Like, most people just don't want to hear it because it forces you to have to either deal with the problem or get rid of the mirror. All right. So I don't want people to get rid of the mirror. I want people to just deal with the problems. All right. For me, I wanted to change, but I didn't know how to change. And by the way, that is why I started the Sunshine Club. Side note, because I hated who I was when I felt like I was out of control. I hated that there was a disconnect between what I wanted to do in my mind and what my willpower would allow me to do. So the things that worked for me, I wanted to teach other people because now I take so much pride in being a great homemaker. Even though I don't have a man to be homemaking for, I take great pride in making my bed every day, keeping my bathroom tidy, keeping my house neat. And it's a nice feeling knowing that if someone pops up unannounced wanting to come by and hang out with me, I'm not going into a freaking tizzy running around trying to grab stuff and tidy up and sweep and do all this stuff. I have personal satisfaction because now I'm proud of who I am. I said, this is the bar for me personally, whether there's anyone in my life or not, and I want to reach that. And that is something that's so important to do. So I try to teach people the basics of how to be a successful person and create good habits in my Sunshine Club, but that's for another time and another day and another video. All right, so where am I? I was defensive. This was the injury to add to the insult. I was defensive. I was insecure. And the worst one, the last one that I was, is that I was freaking hypocritical. So not only was I defensive and delusional and self-centered, but the thing that I would say was so terrible for him to do, I would not only do it, but I would do it 10 times harder. And because I was so caught up in my own little world, I wouldn't even see the correlation. Have you guys ever experienced that? Like, have you ever experienced somebody who says, oh my God, I can't even think of something off the top of my head. Like, don't leave this stuff out or don't borrow my stuff without returning it. And you're like, okay, whatever. And then they not only borrow something without returning it, but they borrow it, destroy it, and it can't be replaced or it runs out or whatever. And then they're like nonchalant. It's worse than them just doing it. It's the fact that they made such a big stink about it with you, and then they did it 10 million times worse. So I was doing that because, like I said, I was just so self-centered and so focused on me that I wasn't even seeing the correlation. So this poor dude is like, bro. Oh my God, he said I need to see if I can get my ex on here. I can't. Okay, all right. So we've got through my horrible motivation before I even got married, before I even met my partner, why I was destined for failure at the beginning, my main issues, and then the insult to injury. All right. So now we're gonna get to the turning point. All right. So the turning point. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. The turning point for me, which I believe was one of the first questions that was asked, was that I was so frustrated. Because here's the thing, and my ex-husband said this to me while we were married. He said, I used to think that you were malicious. Like, he's like, I used to think your behavior was malicious. Like, I was personally trying to do something to him. And then it was like, bless your heart, I just realized you just can't help yourself. And although it felt good for him to know, because it was true, I wasn't intentionally like, ha ha ha, let me see how effed up I can be to him and get away with it. It wasn't. It made me so sad to know that I didn't have it in me to be the wife that he deserved. I didn't think that would make me emotional, but it did. And I will say this. Thank God that at this point in my life, 6 years removed from my marriage, I had the ability to talk with him and ask for forgiveness and apologize sincerely from my heart. And so inconvenient when you get emotional because it's hard to talk at the same time. I'm grateful that I got to live to see the day that years later, he said to me, I can see the change. I can't undo the time that I wasted. And I can't take back the pain that I caused him and the disappointment. Because he didn't sign up to bring 2 kids into this world to break up a home. He didn't sign up for that. But it does feel good to know that I can be the best co-parent that I can be. Because our situation was just too far gone for me to continue. I did not believe that there would ever be the ability for him to love me the way I wanted to be loved after everything that happened. And I didn't think that I had the ability to love him after seeing what a person can be like when they're pushed to the breaking point. Goodness gracious, I hate crying. It's just inconvenient. Okay. But what motivated me to change was because I was hurting. I was hurting inside because I wasn't getting the love that I wanted and had fantasized about since my earliest memory. I remember being like 5 and fantasizing about being married. That was part of it, but the other part of it was the devastation of knowing that he was hurting. For the first couple of years, because I stuck it out for 12 years, but for the first couple of years, I couldn't see my part in it. So I was the victim in my own story. He was just this horrible person that I had to endure. And then phase 2, I started to see the truth behind what he was saying, but I still wasn't getting it. And I remember vividly that there was a day where I just prayed. I went outside in my backyard and I just prayed and I said, Lord, help me to see myself clearly. Like, I want to see myself through my ex-husband's eyes, who was my husband at the time, and your eyes. And it was almost like something just got downloaded into my spirit. I can't explain it. Unless you have a relationship with God, you don't know what that feels like. It's just, you don't have a knowing, and then instantly you have a knowing after praying. And I had this knowing, and it was almost like I wanted to throw up. I was crying so hard because I was just so disgusted seeing my character for what it was, and understanding the hypocrisy and the judgmentalness and my inability to be gracious, with any shortcomings from him. But I wanted all this grace when it came from him. And it was overwhelming. And I apologized at that time, but I still knew I had a lot of work that needed to be done. And I was so broken. Broken is not even the word. I was so broken. I was in so much pain. I felt like there was no hope. And I finally understood why people commit suicide, because you get to the point where the idea of having to keep going in your state, your current state, is so painful. You just want the pain to end. So it's not that you want to die, you just don't want to keep living the reality that you're living in. And I was starting to have panic attacks. I wouldn't be able to breathe. I would break into a fit of tears when nothing prompted it. Like right now I'm talking and thinking about things make me emotional. I would be in a good mood, just ready to go to the grocery store and just burst out in tears. It was bad. It was really bad. I was so tired. I was depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. I was clinically depressed. They put me on medication, and all it did was make me balloon because my family was scared that I would do something drastic. So I agreed to them that I would get on medication for like at least a year, and didn't really seem to help. But what it did do was prompt me to have a relationship with the Lord that changed my life and began to give me the power to start to create this life that I had always dreamed of. But again, that's for another time. Oh, that's sweet. Yes, it is nice to see you guys are supporting me. Thank you. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so I was motivated. So that's the key thing, okay? Your partner has to be motivated to make the change. So if you're a person on here who you're already married, and I kind of want to see from the comments, those of you, what's your status? Are you single as in unmarried? Are you unmarried, married, or divorced? Or if you want to say that you're considering divorce or pending divorce, or you're somewhere in the process of divorce, you could put that. But I'm curious to see what the status is, if we have mostly unmarried people or what, because that'll help me as far as like the direction that I go with this conversation. But if you are married, you need to you can't do anything outside of pray if your partner is not motivated. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to be motivated. There's no incentive. There's nothing you can do except pray if your partner's not motivated, because they have to want to do the work. Okay, cool. Keep putting your statuses, guys. This is helpful. So I would ask him. I would have a lot of conversations with my husband at the time. I would ask him. I wanted information. And I would pray. So that's what I started doing. That was a turning point, and that was massive. And well, I kind of jumped around. I was going to talk about the bitterness, but yes, it took me years. Okay, so even after, right? So I went through a period where I realized that I had a lot to do with it. It took me years after my divorce to realize that I was the bulk of it. Because what I realized was all the issues that I had with my husband at the time were reactions to what I was doing. So I could say, well, if he was a perfect person, he wouldn't even have those things inside to be able to be pushed out. But I think about myself, and when I'm pushed against the wall, my back is against the wall, I can act in a way that's not becoming, and it's not my true character. So I've kind of owned it at this point. And I feel like sometimes I wonder, had I met him now, if we would have had a thriving marriage, or potentially the person that I am now might not have felt compatible with him for other reasons. You just don't know. But the irony is that I didn't become this person until I went through that. So had I been single all these years, I probably would have just been older and still delusional. So you can never say like what if and yada, 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 but I have made peace with what happened. And it just is what it is. And I'm thriving, and he is too. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to be getting into questions. Awesome. I'm doing really, really good on my time. I'm going to skip that one till the end. Okay. So a lot of so at the very beginning, I talked about self-love. You guys, I apologize for this because I'm trying to make sure I go in a cohesive order. A lot of this stuff that I think sets people up for failure before they even get into the relationship is a lack of self-discipline. And a lot of people know me because know me for promoting abstinence, or at least trying to wait. And although people probably think, oh, it's because you have faith in God, that is something that motivates me. Yes, I want to please God by keeping my body pure. But beyond that, just in a practical way, it's about self-discipline. So many things that we do are done because we lack self-discipline, and it's not because we consciously chose this, right? I didn't choose to be 20 pounds overweight. I am 20 pounds overweight because I lack the discipline to eat well. I lack the discipline to work out on a regular basis, all right? If someone gets pregnant out of wedlock, they're not getting pregnant because they said, I want to be a single mom. I want to get knocked up before I have a partner that wants to be with me. No, it's because they didn't exercise self-discipline and wait to have sex before marriage. There are so many things that modern society deems as okay and normal, but it's really a lack of self-control. So much emphasis is put on the physical, but think about how many people just weeks into talking to them, you realize that they were just a whole mess. If you had just waited a few weeks or waited whatever, you would have gotten the information that you needed to know that that wasn't even someone that you needed to deal with. And you would have had less encounters if you care about body count or, whatever the case may be. We just, I feel, as a society, lack self-discipline. One of the things for me that was my biggest thing that I lacked self-discipline was with emotions. And that is also something that I try to do a lot of content on, is how to control your mind and get control of your thoughts. Because for me, when I would be feeling lazy, I didn't know how to counter the little voice in my head that's going, but it feels so good sitting on the couch. I didn't know how to fight back. I didn't even know I could fight back. I didn't know how to win those battles in the moment. And those little tiny moments turn into your entire character. So you have to win those little moments, moment by moment. And it's not sexy. Like when I tell the story, it just sounds like so basic, but it is life changing. So if that's something you want to know more about, hit me up, DM me on Instagram, talk about the Sunshine Club, things like that, and I can help you. But you have to be able to control your emotions, because look at how many people tell off their spouse and they can't handle it, right? Because they can't handle whatever. How many people fly off the handle? How many people make rash decisions? How many people break up because they can't control their emotions? If you cannot control your emotions, you are not going to have a successful relationship, let alone marriage. The other thing you need to be able to control is your nutrition. Okay, let's be honest. How many people say, I'm not really attracted to my partner anymore, or I don't feel attractive anymore? If you don't take care of yourself when you are not married, what do you think you're going to do when you are married? All right, these are serious but simple but serious things. If you haven't learned how to control your sexual appetite, which is what I talked about at the very beginning, you are going to have a very hard time not cheating. Or if you don't have control, or I should say, if you are a type of person who needs to have affirmation from the opposite sex because you lack self-love, because that's where it comes from, in my opinion, you are constantly going to be flirting with danger. You're going to constantly be having inappropriate conversations. You're going to constantly be, on social media saying things you probably shouldn't say. You're going to be clicking on people's pictures that you have no business clicking on and putting little heart eyes under posts. If you don't love yourself, you are going to look for validation externally. And that is, I would say, 99% of the reason why people cheat. It's not because they met someone that blew their mind and they just absolutely want to be with them and they're ready to throw their whole relationship away. It's because they like the ego boost that person gives you. I feel sexy when he tells me this. I feel desired when she says this. I feel wanted when she needs my you know what. It is selfish. It is saying, I need to feel this and I don't know where to get it, so I'm going to get it from someone else. Stroke my ego, like my picture, make my head feel big, blow my head up. That's what that is. It's not from I have love for this person and I want to be with this person. Otherwise you'd be poly and you'd make them both your wives, whatever. Okay. So here are the takeaways. I'm going to rattle these down and then we're going to get to the Q&As. You got to know who you are, first and foremost, okay? So for me, I thought I was my mom. Clearly I wasn't. Not at all. I was not my mama. I needed to know who I was. At the time, if I had known myself, I would have said, hi, I'm Yonci. I'm really cute. I'm a size 4 with a 27-inch waist. I'll laugh, I'll joke, I'll be your best friend. I'll give you all the sex that you want, but I'm going to be a trophy. I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to clean. I'm barely going to take care of our kids, all right? That would have been me if I knew myself, which is okay if that's your truth. But know yourself, Okay, know yourself, know who you are. And that way you don't introduce your representative to your potential mate. All right. Um, the big one is, now I intentionally kept this video about me because I feel like it's not my place to tell someone else's story. But I also want to keep it on me because I'm the only one who can control what I did. I don't control what somebody else did. But I will talk about this when it comes to a potential mate. You have to see how your mate handles anger, disappointment, frustration. You have to see that. It doesn't have to mean that you frustrated him or pissed him off or make him frustrated, but you have to see him be in that state. You have to see her in that state. You guys ever watch those Bridezilla type reality shows and the woman is a complete psychopath, but the whole episode is about her getting ready for marriage? And I'm like, so y'all think these traits are just going to magically disappear when she gets married? Like, she screamed at you in front of your friends. You don't think she's going to disrespect you after the marriage? She shut down and didn't want to talk because she's overwhelmed. You don't think she's going to do that after the marriage? You have to look at how your spouse handles the bad times. All right? It's not all Gucci. It's not all fun. So you have to see how they handle pressure, because there's always going to be something. There could be a death in the family. There could be a job that's lost. You guys could be great together, but life is rough, and you have to see how that person is built. Are they built for tough, or are they built like a wet cardboard box? You gotta know sooner rather than later, okay? The other thing that's super important, but it doesn't have to be a deal breaker, because not everybody is a product of their environment, but it's important to at least talk about their history. What examples did they see growing up? Like, if it's a woman, did she have a bunch of very strong-willed, how do I say this politically correct way? Like, I ain't need no man. Did she grow up around a lot of women like that? Did she grow up around a lot of really loud, angry women? Did she grow up around a nurturing woman? A woman who, I'm going to say it, knew her place. Not to say that man doesn't have his place either. I'm just saying. But there's a time and a place for everything. You have to look at where this person came from, because that it's going to have an effect on them at some point, or at least have that conversation and say, hey, I noticed your parents scream at each other on a regular basis. Is that okay with you? Or obviously you're probably not gonna be that blunt, but look to see, did he grow up with a loving example? Were they affectionate? If you like affection, did he grow up with a lot of affection? Did she grow up with a lot of affection? If you value open communication, did he grow up around people who express their feelings? Or did they grow up in a home where they're like, shut up, we don't talk about that, let's move on and talk about something else? Isn't the piece of good? Okay, you got to have these conversations. And there's a book that I always talk about. I don't get paid for it, but it says, don't you dare get married until you read these questions, 500 questions that every couple should ask, or something. And it goes through each category: sex, family, faith, all this stuff, so that you can really get into it. I feel like this generation of people does not know how to talk to each other. They're like, oh, your booty's nice. Oh, your beard is sexy. You want to have sex? Like, where's the conversation? Like, do you want to have kids? Do you always want to live in this state? What's your goal in life? How do you feel about this? What are your political views? Like, it's like we don't know how to cover the basic stuff. And then you wait until you've already had sex, you're already dick-matized, or you're pee-whooped, and you can't think straight, and you're already committed, and it's like, well, I guess I can deal with it. Like, no, you need to have these conversations first. That's why I say pump the brakes on knocking boots, if I could use the 1990s phrase, okay? You can't think straight when you're knee-deep, and you know what? All right. The other thing is this. This one is massive, okay? So get out your, like, permanent pen and, like, really circle this one, highlight it, mark it, okay? Maybe put it on a separate paper in, like, 15,000 fonts, all right? This one is so big. Pride, self-centeredness. Everything else can be worked out. Therapy can do wonders, marriage counseling, prayer, Jesus, whatever. Pride, self-centeredness, I mean, obviously God can change a heart, so I'm not saying God can't help it, but it's an uphill battle. Pride and self-centeredness. These are the two things that cannot be played with, all right? And I'm going to tell you why. Pride. I know what I'm supposed to do, but my ego is so strong, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to take it back. I'm not going to help you because I'm pissed. Pride will keep this person from doing what is right, even if they have the emotional intelligence to know it's supposed to be done. Pride is a beast. Pride keeps people from getting resolution. Pride pushes people to get into physical altercations. Pride keeps people from doing so many things. Pride is massive. Avoid a partner who has pride with all costs. And if you struggle with pride, that is something that we should have a conversation about so that I can help you unpack why you're feeling what you're feeling, because it is keeping you from an amazing relationship with your partner. The other thing is self-centeredness, okay? Self-centeredness is the devil, because they could love you in their mind. In their mind, they love you. There's no animosity. They're not malicious like I was. They love you to death, but you're not in their scope. Okay, you're here, and they can only see here, so you're not even relevant because you're out here somewhere. So they're not going to be thinking about you when they are buying food. They're going to come home with just one burger. Like, you didn't think I was hungry? They're not going to consider the fact that you've been watching the kids all day and maybe you want a break. You are never going to be happy when a person is self-centered. A self-centered person is going to cheat, because they're going to prioritize having an orgasm or having their ego stroked over somebody bawling their eyes out and being devastated for the rest of their life. You cannot deal with someone who is self-centered. So pride and self-centeredness, single people, run for the freaking hills. Don't think that time will fix it, or a baby will fix it, or wedding nuptials will fix it. Run, okay? Woo! Here is the last thing I'm going to say as a takeaway. This is what every spouse wants. And if you're going to write things down, I would write this down. Every spouse wants to feel heard. They want to get something off their chest. They're telling someone. They're just not telling you, probably, if you shut them down and make them not feel heard. They're venting to their mom, their brother, their coworker, whoever. But they need to get something off their chest. You need to let them feel like they can be heard. Listen. Don't listen to respond. Really genuinely listen. And if you think about it from your perspective, when you are really bothered by something is really bugging you, don't you want to feel like they're really soaking it in, like they've removed themselves from the situation? I always want to say, like, I want to vent to you about my husband, even though it's my husband. I want to vent to you about my husband. Like, don't be my husband in this moment. Let me vent about my husband. And if he's venting to me, I want him to vent to me about his wife. Not that I'm his wife. I want to take myself so far out of the equation that I can really, really listen with empathy, okay? The other thing your spouse wants is to feel respected. They want to feel like their feelings are taken into consideration. Literally, just put yourself in their shoes. Would that make you feel good? Are you considering them? Are you worried about if it embarrasses them or makes them feel unwanted? Just respect your person the way you'd want to be respected. The third thing is they want to feel like their feelings are validated, okay? So you could just even say, like, I hear you. Man, I can understand how you feel that way. I am so sorry. Even if you didn't mean to do the thing. I hear you, and you're right. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to be jealous. You have every right to want to punch me in the face. Don't do it. But you have every right. Validate their feelings. Do not gaslight them. That is the weirdest. Oh, that's the weirdest feeling, when you know you're right, but they're acting like you're crazy. Validate their feelings, okay? The fourth thing that spouses want is they want to see a change, okay? So that's cute that you listen. That's cute you validated them. But if you don't change, nothing says I'm sorry like change behavior, right? We all know that quote. So actually change. Listen. And then if you don't know how to change, admit that to your partner. I don't know how to change, but hey, I'm willing to get help. Whatever that thing is. If you're drinking too much, let's look at going to AA. If you are having a problem with cheating, let's get into counseling and figure out what is the bottom issue. You know, if you can't hold down a job, let's figure it out. Like, make effort. You got to make some effort. Number 5, they need to feel like there's a balance as far as efforts put in. And I said this earlier in the video, if you caught it from the beginning. Nobody wants to feel like they're pulling all the weight in the relationship. So from time to time, check in, because your situations might change. Maybe they wanted you involved with the kids mostly, but then maybe your kids are older now. Or maybe you took on a job and maybe they want more help here. But constantly check in with your partner and see if they feel like it is a balance. They want to feel like it's it's an equal situation. You're good. Okay, so the other thing is, what are we on? Number 6? You gotta be willing to compromise. Nobody, and this is for men mostly, because I don't hear a lot of women say this. A lot of women feels like it's their show. Like that's why there's the happy wife, happy life. You hear that more than you hear happy spouse, happy house. Most women act like it's the me show. And you know what? If I'm not happy, everything is gonna burn down. Your spouse wants to feel like, let's just say for example, your wife says, you know, you don't spend enough time with me. Then maybe she needs to compromise and say, I'm not going to spend as much. Because if your credit card bill or your bank account is constantly low, money has to come from somewhere. And I see so many times people make these demands, but they don't think about what's the toll that has to be paid. Okay, your person is not a superhero that can just make things happen. So if you're asking for something, be willing to compromise. Um, let's see. And the final thing would be, I keep saying the final, but we're on the what every spouse wants, which is the last bullet point of takeaways. Don't marry out of loneliness, okay? Don't do what I did. Certainly do not marry out of horniness, all right? You need to work on that, okay? Just get help for that. Do not do it because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, jealousy. Oh, my girlfriends are married. All my cousins are married. My parents have been pressuring me. Like, that's a dumb reason to get married, okay? I know this is hard to say because I have kids, so I don't have this problem, but don't get married because you want kids. I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than being in a relationship that you hate and then possibly going through a divorce and now you're single. It's not worth it, okay? It's not worth it. Maybe just be more active in your nieces and nephews' lives or volunteer at some center. I'm just saying, it's tempting, but don't do it. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. And last but not, no, fifth, don't get paid. I mean, don't get married because you want to get paid. All right. Don't get paid. I keep saying paid. Don't get married because you're sick of working and you're ready to be a trophy wife. Don't get married because you want your bills paid. Like, that is not going to sustain you. You're not going to be happy. It gets old real quick. All right. And the last thing, number 6, don't get married to stroke your ego. Don't marry some chick because you want her to be a trophy wife. Like, ooh, this is a notch under my belt. I already got the career. I already got the car. Ooh, now I got the wife. No, that's not a good reason to marry somebody. Okay? Marry because you are ready to be a partner. Being a partner is a lot of work because it's very similar to being a parent. Your needs almost have to take a back seat, and your needs are 100% dependent upon the motivation of your partner, okay? So I'm not saying your needs don't matter. What I'm saying is you cannot have your needs met unless you're with a partner who's not selfish. So if my back needs to be scratched, I'm dependent on you to scratch it. But yet I have to continue scratching yours no matter what, because that's what partnership is, okay? All right, that was a lot. I'm going to get into these comments. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you for all the likes that you guys smashed. So YouTube knows on here I'm giving you guys something valuable. Okay, I'm going to take a sip and then I'm going to get to these comments. I just scrolled up to the top. Okay. Let's see. So I think I already answered the first one. Yes, what made you realize your mistakes? So hopefully, Doug, you got that answer. And I would just say initially, my ex was telling me like on a regular basis, but then I actually could see it for myself eventually when I asked and started to wanting to learn. Let's see. Has co-parenting improved over time? 100%, 100% improved. I would say that it was never an issue, thankfully. Like, I never was a person who held my kids from their father, things like that. And he wasn't flaky. Like, he wasn't the type to be like, oh, I'm gonna pick him up. And he didn't. We never had an issue with that. But what was difficult for me was having so much anger. It was really hard to be a good parent, like hating the father of my children. So there was so much hostility. It was like so difficult having conversations. Like the simplest conversations would blow up into the biggest things. And I would always get, just text me, you know? And now it's so cool. We'll laugh and joke on the phone and, you know, things like that. And to see us, you'd probably be like, why aren't they together? We know why we're not. But it's like we're able to just enjoy each other as people. So it's very, very nice. And it's so much nicer. So much nicer than it was. So true, marriage is for the mature. It really is. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling for the questions, guys, so bear with me. You guys are so funny. Let's see. Okay, I love that you were talking about yourself and the part you played and not him. It shows so much maturity and a healthy sense of awareness. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It drives me nuts when I meet somebody new and I'm like, hey, what happened in your relationship? And it's always my ex was psycho, my ex was a lunatic, my ex was delusional. And I'm just like, you failed the test because I really was just trying to see if you were self-aware. Like, I wouldn't judge somebody off of their mistakes. I actually think it's sexy that you even acknowledge that you made a mistake, that you knew what the mistake was, and that you have an action plan to get better. So y'all stop. Don't be trying to paint your ex like they're a psychopath, because they can have psychopathic issues, but you probably still have something in it. Okay, healing and self-work. Okay. All right. Oh, these are all compliments. That's so sweet, you guys. Thank you. I love this. Don't cry, be thankful of growth. And this is the thing. I never cry anymore because I'm sad. I cry because of the growth. I cry because, see, I'm going to cry just thinking about it. I cry because I'm so aware of how good I have it now and how peaceful I am and how I sleep like a freaking baby. And I remember old Yonci and I feel for her. I remember Yonci in her 30s and Yonci who cried herself to sleep every night and Yonci who was having panic attacks and felt out of control. When I think about that, it makes me cry. I feel for her. And I do cry. I do feel emotion with the effects of what I did in the past as far as my ex. So, but definitely I'm not sad. I'm not sad in 2021. Thank you. Sending love. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Someone else said this is my story. Oh my God. As a man, I'm sitting here watching this instead of football. Wow, that is huge. I was actually scared because I'm like, football season is upon us. Thank you for that, Alex. Thank you for letting me know it's powerful. Crying is a part of healing. This is helping. Thank you. You get it. Tears are cleansing. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Okay. You guys don't have a lot of questions yet. Okay. I'm having a chance to. Okay. The candor here. All right, so I'm looking at these. We have a lot of divorced, some marriage on the rocks. We have some divorced, a lot of divorced. Okay, and then a handful of unmarried. So that's good because I really want you guys to not make these mistakes. Let's see. Question. Okay. Ooh, Natasha. I knew this was going to come. Natasha says, what, if anything, is a barrier for you two getting back together now? I would say, see, I don't want to answer this truthfully because I don't want to be disrespectful. So I would say, think of how to word this. And I've said this to him directly. Knowing everything that I know, I would not have what I need. So the Yonci of 2021 would not be compatible with the man who I know. There. That was a truthful answer. Okay. But that would be so cool though, to be able to reconnect and like have our kids and our family together. That would be amazing. But no, it's no. Okay. Let's see. Y'all, there were like literally like 3 questions. I'm impressed. I thought I was gonna have to ask her a lot. But that just tells me that I covered everything thoroughly. This content needs to be part of a curriculum. I love that. Maybe I should put a course together. You know, I never even thought about that. Like maybe putting, because this is, y'all, I'm just talking freely. I hope we can be this casual, right? But I would truly and honestly love, and I'm putting this out into the universe. For years, I have wanted to put a show together, a TV show, and I just need someone to produce it. But I want to work with couples. I have such a passion for couples. And it's like the relationship whisperer. Because I'm not emotionally invested and tied to that person, a lot of times I can listen to the husband and understand what he's saying and see where the wife is missing what he's saying. And a lot of times I can listen to the wife and hear what she's saying and what he's missing. And so I would really love to do that. I think it'd be powerful for people to watch and to be able to relate and see what they're doing. Y'all, I sit back and watch, so how you guys watch sports, I watch reality TV. I don't like reality TV where they're like screaming and fighting, all that stuff. I like reality TV where people are really having interpersonal conflict, because I can see, and I'm literally like doing commentary to the TV. Put your pride aside, sis. He just wants you to say that you're sorry. Oh my God. You know, she just wants to feel like she's a priority. Like I could see it and I just want to tell people so badly. So one day we'll see. Okay, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm just scrolling. We're almost to the bottom. Great job. Self-centeredness is an issue. Okay, I don't think I have any other questions. Oh, wait, I think there is one more. Sorry, guys, it just skipped really far. And I know this is boring waiting for me to go through these comments, but I'm trying to. Okay. Why watch? Oh, we'll have to watch the replay. Thank you for sharing. Okay, that's not a question. What about respect? I think that when you have respect, your respect supersedes your pride, because everyone has an ego. But I think that when you respect somebody, it goes. So let's say, for example, your boss, right? Your boss, if you respect your boss and you respect his authority, you might think that he's an idiot, but you're not going to say, hey, I think you're an idiot. You can control yourself when the respect outweighs your pride and you're not wanting to get fired. Okay. Okay. Respect the community. Oh, that's so sweet. I respect the community of people you've created. Thank you so much. Okay, here's a question. Tasha, hey. Tasha has known me out of everybody on this live. She's known me the longest. She knew me like when I was a teenager? Yeah, I think since teenagers. Did you guys ever go to counseling? When did you know it was time to let go? Whew, that is a great question. And yes, we went to counseling. I begged. We went to counseling, and see, it's hard to answer certain questions because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I will say this, and God, please forgive me, and ex-husband, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry. But I felt that the counseling ended up being almost like an attempt to get the counselor on one side or the other. Like, oh my God, you guys are so sweet. I just saw someone donated. I didn't even see the, oh, that's so sweet. Oh, it just happened right now. Thank you so much. I don't even know how to see who it is. So shout yourself out if you, oh, I can see it down. Natasha, sorry, I had to scroll to the bottom. You guys, it is so sweet. Thank you so much. Y'all, it means a lot. I'm telling you. I love what I do so much. I literally quit my job without a plan because I could not handle having scraps of my time left. I literally wanted to commit my full days to doing content and doing things like this. So I know God is going to make a way, and I'm working on doing things like I have apparel for sale and I have books and things like that. But I'm telling you, that goes a long way. Okay. That'll buy me groceries. So thank you, you guys. Wow, that really means a lot. But yes, we did go to counseling, and I did not feel like we were both going into it for the same reason. And I genuinely felt like, this is again, God, please forgive me, but I didn't really feel like he felt he needed to work on anything because I was doing so much stuff. So it's kind of like my side was like huge. I had all these things wrong with me. And then whatever things he had, it was like, let's just work on yours first before we get to mine. And so for me, that's why I finally walked away, because I felt like it wasn't two people trying. And I literally felt like I was so in the negative as far as like if his love was a barometer, you want it to be like above zero. I felt like I was not even at zero. I was so in the negative that even if I was awesome, it would take years to even get to zero. And then maybe I would start to feel the love after that. I didn't feel any hope that it was ever going to like happen. And then things that I won't talk about happened to where I wouldn't be comfortable staying. How long were you married? I was married for 12 years. And also I think what played a pretty big part was the fact that I was like fresh out of college. I was 23, and he was 37. So he had a lot of life experience. And I think about who I am at 41, and I can't imagine being compatible with somebody who was, 14 and a half years younger, because you just go through different life experiences. But I presented very maturely. I spoke the same way I do now. It's just certain things that over time you start to see. So it wasn't like I was in there acting immature. I was very mature for my age, but I just wasn't disciplined. Let's see. Does he want to get back together with the new Yonci? He has never spoken anything of that nature. But I will say that when I filed for divorce and then began to see somebody, he did suggest we go to counseling and try to work it out. But as soon as we went to counseling, it was a repeat of what happened before. So I just felt like, I'd rather a fresh start with somebody else with this. If someone asks you to marry them, would you suggest premarital counseling? No, I would not suggest it. I would demand it. I would absolutely demand it. I feel that marriage is so massive. It is a partnership. It is a business partnership that has more at stake than a regular business partnership. And so just like you would not just willy-nilly go into a business and partner with somebody, you would definitely want to have some education, some training. Like not everybody learns on the fly and like school of hard knocks. A lot of people have business degrees, or at least went through a coaching program, or at least had mentors. I think that so many people don't know what they don't know. So I would 1000%. And I actually got pretty serious with somebody, and he actually brought it up, and my toes curled. He was like, we should get marital counseling. And I was like, I was so excited, but then he ended up being bluffing. He was bluffing. He had no plans on doing that. So I was so bummed, because I was like, how dope would it be if we went through this before we got into it and got all emotional? Okay, how were your children impacted by your divorce? So my daughter, she didn't seem like, neither one of my kids had any type of like behavior differences. I hate to say this, but my son, all he knew was toxic dysfunction. Toxic. So if anything, it was probably more peaceful for him. But the only thing that was frustrating to him, and I'm pausing because I'm getting into someone else's story and not mine, but I feel that this wouldn't be anything bad to share. What made it difficult was how I handled it. What made it difficult was me being unstable and having anger towards his father. So had I been graceful, had I kept my mouth closed, had I not bad-mouthed or done anything, it would have been way like a smooth transition. But a lot of parents put the children in the middle, and that was again a lot of my immaturity, because it was like subconsciously I wanted a cosign. I wanted to be the victim. I wanted my son to realize how bad I had it, and that is so selfish. When you learn how to stop being self-centered, you put yourself in someone else's shoes, and I'm like, my God, I would never want to be in the middle between my mom and dad. So thank God they're thriving. But I think we do an amazing job co-parenting, and I purposely made sure we only live 4 minutes from each other. So we're close enough that my son could literally, well, he can drive now, but he could ride his bike or jog to my house. We have an open door policy. Anytime that, they want to see their dad, they can see him and whatever. So I feel we try really hard to make it as normal and cool as possible. Can I just say that you bounced back so beautifully? From what does that mean? From the Saturday morning? From the Saturday morning, Yonci? I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. I'll take it. I believe you are walking in your purpose with this channel. Oh, thank you, you guys. Thank you. Okay, have you ever struggled with loneliness? Okay, y'all are asking the good questions now. And have you overcome rejection if you have indeed experienced these issues? All right, get my tissues ready because I know this is going to make me cry. Okay. When I left the relationship, it took 12 years. I stayed way longer than I should have. And the reason why I did was because I was so scared of having nothing at all. I was like, I'm lonely and miserable with a partner, but I'm going to actually have no partner and be lonely and miserable. And so I clung to hope, and I was so scared of being alone, which was also a big reason why I rushed into marriage, because I just felt like, oh, my life will just be amazing if I'm not alone. And so 1000% dealt with loneliness. I struggled with it, and I would be lying to say that I don't have dark moments now. But there are moments, thank God, there are moments. And I've seen a direct correlation with my prayer life. The closer I am with God, and it's not even anything deep, it's just having my morning time with him, praying, hey, Lord, please give me what I need for today. A lot of that is spiritual. And I'm going to speak a little bit on faith, so that people can understand, because I can't answer this question authentically without getting into faith. But I feel that a lot of our angst, they come from mirages, what I call mirages, right? Like they look like something, but it's not really real. When we have certain cravings that we think will be filled by a partner, it will be filled with sex, it'll be filled with alcohol, drugs, it'll be filled with attention, it'll be filled with money or power or fame. It's a mirage. We just have different things in our mind that it looks like. So your mirage might look like fame. My mirage might look like a relationship. But at the end of the day, they're all mirages. And what it is it is a lack of nourishment. It's a malnourishment. Just like you feel a physical hunger pain, right? You know what that feels like in your physical stomach. I believe that we have hunger pains in our spirit. And it leads to depression and anxiety. And a lot of people get on medication to make that feeling go away because it's unbearable, or in the worst cases, they take their life. But what I believe is it is a malnourishment because we have not received our daily bread from our Heavenly Father. And so for me, without getting into religion and anything deep, I literally spend time in the morning and I talk to God and I say, give us this day our daily bread. And I don't understand it, but spiritually, I feel content. It feels like joy. It feels like peace. It literally speaks of the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness. And what God talks about in the Bible, bear with me if we can go to church for a second, he says that God is love, right? So these are attributes of God. And what I imagine happening in the morning is that he supernaturally gives us these spiritual aspects that we need. I believe that before sin came into this world, we were connected to God almost like babies with an umbilical cord. And once we were separated from God, we started lacking the nutrition. Like when a mom is pregnant, whatever she eats just naturally goes to the baby. You don't even have to try. And when we were spiritually disconnected, now we have to use prayer to be able to connect daily. And I do believe that it is something that's daily. Because when I studied what Jesus did, which is the actual Son of God, he daily, in the morning, before everyone got up, went alone in the garden to talk to his dad. And when they asked him, hey, how should we pray? He said, do it this way. Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It's a surrender on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Okay? And then it goes on. But I do believe that we need daily bread. That's why I tell people, don't get hung up on the religion. Just try it and see if it works. If you're battling depression and anxiety, try having a moment each morning and talk to him. And then if you want to crank it up 15,000 notches, bust open your Bible and ask him to speak to you. Because if you come with a surrendered heart saying, I need something from you, he is a daddy, an Abba in the Hebrew. And hello, how do daddies feel about their babies? They want to give. They are dying to give. They can't think of anything more awesome than giving. So you come with a childlike heart saying, give, I have a need, I feel a pain, whatever it is, will you fill it for me, please? And he's like, you got it. And all you have to do is give him the glory back. That's why when I think back about the old me, it makes me emotional because I know it was God. Only God knows the way I cried every night. Only God knows the way I called the name Jesus over and over and over again, waiting for lightning to strike and thunder to clap and have a sign. Only God knew how I got up at 4 a.m. before everyone else got up while it was still dark outside and cracked my Bible open and read for an hour every single morning because I was desperate and I didn't want to commit suicide and I didn't know what else to do. I can't explain it. I don't get it. But I know this has nothing to do with church. It's a spiritual encounter with the creator of the universe who knows all and controls all and can do all and has all the power. And so if you can tap in for free, like, why not? But yeah, that was, do I get lonely? So I got a little off track. So when I have moments where I start to feel lonely, it's an indicator to me, oh, I'm getting low. And I always look back and see a correlation. I haven't even talked to God in like 2 weeks. I've been rushing to get up and start my day. And so when I get back on it, I start to notice I have the peace again. And I don't feel this franticness of like, oh. And the other thing that I realize is that everything is happening for a divine reason. So if I'm where I'm supposed to be, he knows my heart. He knows how badly I want to be a wife. He is very capable of putting my partner in my life. So the fantasy that I like to think about is that Mr. Yonci, I'm joking, Mr. Yonci is getting his life together while I continue to get my life together. And at that perfect moment, we will connect. And I take peace in that. And I'm so grateful that I have a purpose because my purpose keeps me going. If I didn't have a purpose, all I would have is time to think about my singleness. And that sucks. That's why I teach in some of my other videos, you got to get a life. Because if you don't have a life, it's going to suck. Okay, I notice the same thing when prayer life is off, everything else is. Nice. How... Okay. Have you ever struggled with loneliness? So Rio, I see your question. I actually, oops, shoot. I have to skip that one for now. Part of it, actually for a legal reason, but I will do content on that later. Let's see. Yeah, for legal reasons, we'll get into that. Okay. How long do you wait to tell a potential partner that you have kids? I say all my deal breaker stuff literally on the first conversation. I'm that type of person, like, I don't even want to go to the next conversation unless they know certain things. So anything that would potentially take me out of the running, I tell them immediately, and that's what I respect back. Okay, let's see. More of a comment than a question. I feel that if couples with kids think about the kids, wait. Okay, I think maybe to finish that thought. Would you want your son or daughter to grow up and marry someone that treats them? Oh, you're saying if you think about it that way, like, would I want my son or daughter? Yes, they should think about that. I swear you are a prime example of how a woman's vulnerability is her strength. Kind of wish we as men had that. Oh my God, that breaks my heart. Brain chaser. That breaks my heart. You guys can. And Aldrian, thank you so much. Thank you. You guys, seriously, thank you. That is amazing. Thank you for the donation. Honey, we're eating dinner tonight. No, but for real though, thank you. I'm pausing because this is such a sensitive thing for me. I have such a passion for men. I call myself an advocate for men because I see so many men who have not been allowed the space to be vulnerable. They've not been allowed the space of being emotional. And I feel like, especially in 2021, it's kind of a woman's world. I feel like women are allowed to be violent. They're allowed to be verbally abusive. They're allowed to be psychotic, and there are no ramifications. And people cheer them on like, good job, sis. You deserve that. But yet if a man did that, all hell would break loose. And I think as a result, there are a lot of men who have like PTSD. I've taken studies. I've listened to people. There is major trauma that men are going through. And so that comment in particular really strikes a chord for me because that is something that I really want to get into. I'm actually going to be doing a series of videos about the number one reason why men commit suicide and why it's done much more than women. And a huge part of it is that they don't feel like they have an outlet, or they don't feel like their partner's a safe space to go to. So, oh, that makes me sad. But we're gonna work on that. Prayerfully, that's gonna get changed. Mrs. Johnson is cute. Okay, what were the steps to living a life of self-discipline? Now that is a very complicated answer. It's so complicated, in fact, that I literally made a group called the Sunshine Club. And actually see some of my members in here. But I teach that, and I used to do one-on-one. I stopped, but if someone is really, really, really in need of one-on-one, I'm considering doing it again. But I'm sharing that in my Sunshine Club because it's a lot. I would say though, send me a DM on Instagram if you would like a video. I have a video that I share for free on mental discipline, which is step 1. And I share that. And if you like that, then you'll probably enjoy the Sunshine Club. So send me that DM on Instagram. You can just say video and I'll know what that means. But yeah, that's a lot. And if you guys have more questions on self-discipline, what would be the best thing to do? Because y'all, there's so much content I want to make. It's like all over the place, and I always want to know what you guys want the most. So just make sure you communicate with me on YouTube and Instagram, and I'll make more content. But I want to keep this one more so on what I did in the relationship, the marriage. Okay, good. Glad it means a lot. All right, y'all. Y'all stuck around. This was so cool. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed it. I know it's not like the sexiest thing to talk about, you know, there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. And I just think that it's a testament to our generation that we care. You know, a lot of our family's generation, our parents' generation got married out of necessity, and they didn't believe in therapy. And as much as I get discouraged about the things that I see, I feel like our generation, 35 to 45, we are caring about our mental health. We're caring, and we are not just prioritizing our financial, lives. We are prioritizing our emotional lives. And I think it's amazing that so many guys are trying to do the work before they get married, and so many women are trying to do the work before they get married. And so the fact that there's 30 plus people watching this live on a Sunday when there's football season, and it's not all women, that says a lot. So give yourself a round of applause. Y'all put a clap emoji, something, but that's amazing. That's encouraging to see. All right, guys, so that's everything that I have for now. I went half an hour over what I planned on doing, but I don't mind it. It's worth it if you guys are enjoying it. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can do so right here, Chasing Yonci. For those of you who donated, thank you so much, you guys. If I'm ever on your heart and you want to just drop $1, $5, or you want to become a patron, patreon.com/Yonci. That is amazing. There are some of you who have signed up and you just do $5 a month. It really goes a long way. I have really been praying and asking for guidance on what I should share through my books. I'm writing books. I've dropped 3 ebooks so far, which are on my website, chasingyonci.com. But I really want to make content that is helpful. I have had resources that I have read multiple times throughout my life and have really gotten me through, and it's invaluable, and I would like to do that. I truly believe that I have been put here on this earth to encourage people. I want people to feel encouraged after they talk to me and read my stuff. So if I come to your mind, please pray for me. And if God puts it on your heart to send something, it is very much a big deal. I will say that I had about a year's savings, and that ended in June. And literally July, August, and now we're halfway through September. It has been the contributions of other people and a combination of the merchandise that I've sold. So when I say I'm grateful to you guys, I'm grateful, and it has been a testament to God, because it takes faith not knowing what your November is coming from and what your December is coming from. But I truly believe that if I am following my purpose, everything will happen the way it's supposed to. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's it for my church bulletins. Share this video with anyone that you think could benefit from it. Oh, and please, if you have Instagram, take a screenshot right now. Okay, I'll do like this. Take a screenshot and post in your stories what you thought about this video, because more people need to see this, I feel. And it will also help get the word out to the type of people who need to hear it. So you guys individually doing that, you all have your big audiences. It is huge for me. So comment IG if you guys are willing to post it in the story, and tag me so that I can see it and I'll repost it. But that is so helpful. And that's with any content creator, you guys. Anyone stuff that you like, maybe you're not in a position to give them a monetary donation or something like that. That is social media currency. When you share with somebody, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Somebody sent me a Cash App. Thank you so much. I didn't realize my phone was on. When you share on social media, that means the world to us, because that gets our message out to more people. All right, guys, until next time, be sure to tell somebody that you love them.